Hello guys, Steven here with Team Covenant. I am here with a familiar face, Brian Ramey. Brian, how you doing, man?
I'm doing really good.
Good to see you. We're back for another year at GenCon.
We are back.
So we came to GenCon last year. We got the demo. We've been playing Infinity since then, and been kind of like holding off because we've heard that 3rd edition is very close to on the way, and so I don't want to put out a lot of old content whenever we know there's new stuff coming on. And I heard that you know a little bit about 3rd edition.
I know a little bit about 3rd edition.
So what I want to know is everything that you know about 3rd edition.
Wow, that's a little open-ended.
Yeah.
But I will say that for everyone who's out there who have been coming to the Dormicom channel, I do apologize. I was running under the same issue with, I did not want to publish a bunch of stuff knowing that 3rd edition was coming out. And for me, it was even harder because last year, if you read the Dirt articles on Bell Lost Souls, I actually posted, I found out about it accidentally last year, and I'm like,
really?
oh man.
And you couldn't say anything.
I can't say anything.
You couldn't say anything. Right. Well, sweet. So, first of all, do you know anything about the approach for let me ask you the bigger question.
Okay.
Anything that has changed in your life for Infinity since the last year, excluding 3rd edition? Anything that you want to talk about? Anything like
excluding 3rd edition?
Any strategies that you've figured out? Any forces that you've mastered? Anything like that?
I don't want to brag about this.
Okay.
But I've actually had a lot of success with my tournaments locally.
Great.
Yeah, it's been.
Hey, that's always a great feeling, man.
To the point that one of the guys kind of asked me, like, yeah, you know, we were thinking maybe you will like say you can't take this army or that army. I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. So wait, what is that? So what is that like in the sense of, does something click in your brain that makes you were you viewing the game differently? Because I've had this happen in other games where like I'll play for a long time and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I see things so much differently. Like why I should be going here instead of there, why I should be rolling here instead of there.
Yes.
So that kind of thing.
Yes, and I'll tell you why this happened to me. I started playing every faction.
Oh.
Beforehand, I only played one faction, and now it's like I made it a point that every single time there was a new tournament, I would intentionally bring another different faction, just so I'd learn all their rules. But by learning all their rules, you learn how to beat all their strategies, right?
Classic, right?
So like the expanse of it kind of blew up. And again, I'm not like I am the man. It's more like it's like playing every single faction does improve how you view this game.
So what would you say, is there any tactics or strategies that you could give myself, anyone watching, new to Infinity, intermediate at Infinity, and it's like, here's just the things that I really figured out, or like something that...
A lot of them are really subtle. Like, so for instance, I was telling this guy, when we were running this demo right here, this guy who was playing the Nomad faction, I told him, he's like, okay, I'm just going to fire at your guy. I'm like, don't do that. Instead, declare your first short movement skill and move there. You didn't get out of cover, but it forces both of them to declare their AROs. And if this model decides she's going to dodge, and this model decides she's going to fire, he's going to fire at you, don't bother spending any of your burst on the guy that's dodging.
Nice.
So it's like little things like that you start to kind of go, oh,
wow.
Like or another example. There was one point where similar situation, but I decided that I was going to fire at someone, and I don't know if I can even set it up in here. But anyways, I was going to fire at someone, and the other person dodged. So instead of, for the second short skill, I moved so far out of cover because he's not firing at me, but it pulled them out of cover. So there's a lot of little things, and I'm like, why didn't I ever think about this as I was playing the game the first time?
That's excellent. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. That those are the things that I keep running into as well, like these little revelations that I'll have, and it's like, wait, I don't need to spin this order over here. If I do this instead, it's way better. Like, it's way better. Okay, so let's talk 3rd edition a little bit. Are you like familiar with it? You play tested a little bit. I know there's probably been a ton of play testing going on.
So my familiarity really centers around the stuff that's in Operation Ice Storm.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So I want to talk about Ice Storm.
Okay. There's a lot of it feels very similar. Like if we were going to actually run a demo right now, I don't think people who went out to your channel would go, wow, this seems very different, because it's not. At the core mechanic level, it's the same.
Which is great.
Which is
fantastic.
Fantastic.
The game that we love, right?
However, the strategies, because of things that kind of fall outside the realm of just how do I move, how do I fire, become so different. Like how they handle camouflage is very different.
That seems really good, because I know camo was like almost a necessary requirement for a lot of lists. Like it was so strong. wrong?
Well, because I don't know if you had this experience, but for me, I would see a lot of new players jump into Ariadne because they're like, yes, I don't have to learn hacking.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, I got to learn camo. And that can, and not on the same level, but Ariana is so keen on that camouflage rule that if you don't understand how to execute it from a strategy perspective, it can be devastating.
Yeah, absolutely. So camo's handled differently. So is it just, are we looking at a cleaned up version of things? Are we looking at a more streamlined rule set, that kind of thing? Are we looking at just basically big fundamental changes that are going on across Affinity?
I think you're going to see both.
Okay.
At some level, I think depending on the faction that you play and the style and models that you choose, it's going to be a bigger or smaller amount of change, right?
Right.
But especially with camouflage, you're really going to see that. There's a couple of other things. I mean, the scatter rules are different. I mean, now the template even looks different, so that it's more balanced on how it could scatter. Because if you were a left, and in second edition, you'd kind of line up on your table, and you're like, okay, I want the least likelihood that my net rods are going to fall off the table.
Yeah.
You could, I believe it was like you would pick the right-hand side, point it to the center, and it would give you the greatest chance of probability that even if you scattered, you wouldn't fall off the table.
Nice.
And so that kind of stuff goes away. The template drops down. You'll scatter 16 inches, period.
Nice.
That's a big difference.
Okay. Sweet.
And it's there's no 1 and 2 and 8 and 9. I think were 2 and 3 and 9 and 0 were the greatest chance to go because both of them were pointing in the same arrow.
Yeah.
Now it's evenly spread out amongst the circles.
Nice. So all that kind of stuff's just being cleaned up, basically, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, and I mean even your lieutenant order, right? If you use your lieutenant order, you have to show who your lieutenant is.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that makes me so happy.
And your lieutenant order does nothing but provide a regular order for your lieutenant. So you can't use your lieutenant order to reform a link.
Oh, man.
That comes somewhere else. There's some other thing that's coming.
Oh, that's so cool, man. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking
what it
about. That's exactly what those are the kind of things that get me really excited. It's like that stuff that was kind of like, you're demoing the game and you get people into it and then it's like, well, I don't quite know actually how this lieutenant order works. You just do it and then we just trust that it's being done correctly in a sense. You don't have to really declare or reveal anything. So that kind of stuff sounds awesome.
I like the whole notion that basically you're going to be showing your orders now. There's none of that, well, I don't really want to show you my orders because I don't want you to know when I'm using my lieutenant order.
Yeah.
Right? When everything is kind of out in the open, you still have the advantage, the tactics of it all.
Yeah.
But you also have the ability to make sure that you're playing a very balanced game and you don't have people kind of cheesing it.
Yeah, that's excellent.
So,
do you know anything about list construction? Is that remaining largely the same? Now, I noticed in the quick start rules, the cylinder thing was a thing. So the area that a model takes up is a thing.
Right.
Is there
which is my game group never had a problem with that.
Yeah.
But I can see how that other people might have had an issue with that.
Yeah.
Especially when you had the squat down Nice, who's or the some of the Jamazan snipers who's barely
tiny.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So is there any of that kind of stuff in the list construction?
I don't see it from what you wanted to buy perspective, but what I did see in this quick start rule is that the point costs are different. And it's subtle because if you're not looking for it, you won't see it. But I'll tell you right now, the Jotum's tag, that's 1 point less to bring onto the field. Really, really minor, but I think I wish I had a count because I wouldn't be shocked if as you're going through Operation Ice Storm, if you see 4 models that have a point or 2 less costs. I haven't seen any that are more expensive.
Nice. All right, so we have, let's talk about Ice Storm a little bit.
Okay.
So we have this box that to me looks to be a complete home run.
Yeah.
As far as getting people into the game. This box comes with 2 forces.
Do you want me to grab a copy real quick?
Dude, yeah, grab one on. Yeah. Brian's going to grab us a copy of Ice Storm. There it is. So this is Ice Storm. We took a look at this earlier in the day. It's a 2-player starter. And this is the thing, is it comes with terrain, it comes with all the figures, it comes with all the tokens, it comes with the dice even.
And when third edition comes out fully, you can download it for free. So it's like, you're sitting here, you're like, beforehand, you buy the models, and then as you're using it, you're like, well, I really need tokens.
Yeah.
Okay, I really need terrain.
Yep.
Templates would have been nice.
Yep.
Here, it's all there, and it's 2-player. You get a buddy. You're splitting this in half. You know,
it's perfect.
And instead of 6 models, you end up with 7.
Yeah.
2 exclusives that are in this box only. They only made 5,000 copies of this. Regardless of what you see in other forums, I've talked to people. It's 5,000, and that's it.
Yeah, so, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Man. Tell us about the book inside. So what does it do? There's a bunch of missions in here that basically teach people the game in steps, right? Like digestible bites.
Yes, and I use the Portal analogy a lot. So if you have people that are watching this video that played Portal, it's like when you first play Portal, you're not given the Portal gun. There's some things for you to walk through.
Yeah.
Then you get the gun, but you can only fire one.
Yeah.
Then you get the gun, you can fire both your portals. Okay. Same sort of stair-stepping approach to the missions in this book. 5 missions total. The big difference between this and the Quick Starter booklet is just that the missions aren't there. And honestly, I think that's what makes this so much easier to like literally hand off to someone and see how they do.
If you hand that to 2 people, they are playing Infinity. Period.
There's really not a lot of.
They're in there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's so good.
I'm actually conducting a bit of an experiment for myself. I actually want to see if I send this to my brother, who's never played any tabletop games whatsoever.
Oh man,
the only problem is I'm thinking I might have to still get the models assembled and painted before I send it to him.
That's fair.
Yeah, but I'm really curious. I really want to see if I and I don't give him any hints. I just go, here you go.
Here you go.
Tell me what you think. Tell me how you go through mission 5.
Yeah.
And just see if he'll do it. I haven't gotten his permission yet. Sorry, John.
Well, can you give me an example of like what a mission is structured like? Like the first mission, what is that?
The first mission is literally 3v3 infantry line troops. You're really learning. You know that first video that we did yesterday?
Yeah.
That is really what you're learning there. The second mission, you introduce a lieutenant, so now you have the scenarios with Lost Lieutenant, which in 3rd edition changes. So instead of it dropping down to 2 orders, which you cost 2 orders to get a lieutenant, so you effectively lose a turn, that's how it goes in 2nd edition.
Yeah.
In 3rd edition, all your models become irregular, and you get a lieutenant for free at the end.
Oh, that's so good.
Yes.
Brian, that's so much better.
It's so much better. Yes.
Well, everything that you're telling me makes me think that 3rd edition is going to be a complete home run. Would you agree with that? I mean, do you get that feeling as well?
I get the sense. I think you're going to have a couple of people who might get frustrated with 1 or 2 little things, but I think no matter how you look at this, getting more people into this game and it really being balanced, rules are cleaner.
Yeah.
I think people are going to clam onto the fact that the game feels better.
Yeah.
So,
and if you can accomplish that, everything else in the game is phenomenal. The only thing that could keep people out is like those unclear rules and some of that weird stuff. And you clean that up. I mean, what's to stop? What's to stop it?
Well, and I've cherry picked a couple rules that I wrote about in one of my blog articles.
Yeah.
So I've seen how they're intended to be worded in 3rd edition. I'm smiling. I really, really am.
That's awesome, man.
Because it clears up everything.
That's great. Well, that's pretty much all that I need to hear. So just to make sure everyone at home knows, you're not an official Corvus Belli guy.
I am not a Corvus Belli employee. No.
You're just on the demo team.
I am literally
and you're
a guy
fan.
from YouTube who last year used to be doing a lot of YouTube videos about Infinity. This year, again, it's been crazy, but everything's been in anticipation for 3rd edition.
Well, man, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. It's such a pleasure, and you've got me more excited about 3rd edition than I already was, which is hard to do.
Nice.
So well done. Thank you guys for watching. We got more coming from Infinity from GenCon 2014.